And it is that time of the month. We got a top 25 list to get to, and boom, there it is. Wow, I gave the whole thing to you so fast. Why are we doing that, Cubs? Because this video is actually not going to discuss this list in as much detail, but rather we're going to talk about the top 15 for the entire year of 2018. We are coming to the end of the year, and I thought it would be great. We did 12 lists this year to average out all of those lists and make one list for who were the best characters of the entire year of 2018. And because some of those, we didn't start doing top 25 until July. We were doing top 15 for the first half of the year. I'm just taking the top 15 from each list and averaging out all of those votes into our own 2018 top 15 for the entire year. So without any further ado, let's get to that list. And I'm going to break down this in groups of 5. All right, starting with numbers 15 through 11. Number 15, Mother Talzin. Number 14 is Asajj Ventress. Number 13, Jedi Knight Revan. Number 12 is Grandmaster Yoda. And Emperor Palpatine comes in at number 11. Now, Revan at number 13. What a crime. Well, please just consider Revan only had a couple lists that he could even be considered on, and so that's why he's sitting this low. Had Revan come out in January, I'm confident he would be showing up quite a bit higher on this list. Don't worry, Revan's still really good right now in the game, but for the whole year, he wasn't even around, and so I think it's still impressive that only being here for a few months, he was able to make it onto the list. I love seeing Mother Talzin and Asajj Ventress, though, on this list where they are. A big reason for that is because I felt like they were in this range all year, and so I'm glad they stayed here. They had a lot of use in this game. It was never really a meta use. They were never, making a huge splash in the arena. They were never a big, huge, integral part of that meta, but they were solid in raids, especially Phase 3. They were absolutely solid in territory wars, and a lot of people are finding a ton of good use for them in Grand Arena, and so those two absolutely deserve to be on this list, and I think it's going to be in that order. I think Asajj is the better character out of Mother Talzin and Asajj, but Talzin, look, I mean, very, very solid. That plague mechanic is devastating if you don't have a way to manage it effectively. Yoda in at number 12. Love it. His rework was amazing. And there's just something. The Jedi in me, there's just something about seeing my Yoda go to town and put up 60,000 to 80,000 damage on a critical hit. It just feeds my soul because he was so bad for so long, and now he's not, and he's part of the meta, and I think it's beautiful. It's really beautiful. Totally beautiful. Speaking of reworked characters, Emperor Palpatine at number 11. This rework for Palpatine is a massive part of the story for 2018. A big part of 2018 was the Sith Meta that we had, which really started right at the beginning of the year when they reworked Palpatine and Vader. They were good, and then Scion hit, and then boom, they were the meta. That Nightmare team was huge. Traya came later, and then we had that meta all the way up until Revan hit just a few months ago. Palpatine was a big part of that. In fact, his rework was so good that even when Traya first hit, a lot of people didn't think that Palpatine lead was worse than that Traya lead wasn't as good as Palpatine lead. It kind of took Bastila making her resurgence in the arena to have people realize, this isn't working with Palpatine. Let's try Traya, and then the Traya lead became the meta. Breaking down numbers 10 through 6. Starting with number 10, we got Han Solo. Number 9, Darth Sion. 8 is R2-D2. 7, Darth Nihilus. And 6, General Kenobi. Han Solo, my man. He almost fell out of favor, didn't he? He was pretty high on the list at the beginning of the year. In January, he was sitting at number 6. And then he goes all the way down into, let's see, I think it's June. He was all the way down to number 11, 12 in July, all the way to 15 in August. And then we get Chewie and he just goes right back up into the meta. And so Han Solo in at number 10 makes a ton of sense to me. He's a great counter to these Revan teams, especially with C-3PO being in the mix now. He's not meta, and he hasn't been meta for 2018, but he's had enough significant use that he deserves to be on this list. Scion is definitely a number 9 character to me. Look, Scion is still super annoying to go against, even for I've got a Revan team. I'm really fortunate, and he annoys the crap out of me even with my Revan team. Just stop putting Held by Hatred up there, dude. This is really annoying, and he's super tanky. Forcing the taunt and having it be a taunt is one of the first characters to, General Kenobi is another one, but you can't dispel his taunt efficiently, right? Because it's going to function based on who has the pain mechanic, the pain debuff on them. So Scion in at number 9 makes a lot of sense to me. R2-D2 is in at number 8. Don't really have a lot to comment on for that, I think it makes sense. And Darth Nihilus, at the beginning of the year, he was also really starting to fall out of favor, kind of like Palpatine. But when we had the Sith Triumvirate come, we got a subtle rework there. The amount of tankiness that came to Darth Nihilus made him an amazing character. If you do not find ways to burn through him, you're going to be killed fast. And so Darth Nihilus very much deserves a spot on that list. General Kenobi in at number 6 also makes sense to me for 2018, and he's, like a lot of characters, kind of started falling out of favor. General Kenobi, when we first did our top 15 list way back in July 2017, it was our first ever number 1 character. When he first hit, he was the meta, super solid character, and he remained probably the best tank in the game for a long time. That's a little bit more debatable now, but his use really started to diminish up until we had Revan hit, and then all of a sudden, boom, General Kenobi back into the limelight. Now, there's a certain amount of debate on whether or not General Kenobi is ideal for a Revan team. I'm actually not running my General Kenobi in my Revan team. A lot of people do. I think the jury's still out on what is the best Revan team. It just depends on so many things. But the fact remains, General Kenobi is a huge part of Jedi teams and one of the best tanks of 2018, and he deserves to be on this list. All right, breaking down the top 5. Starting with number 5, we got BB-8. Number 4 is Darth Traya. 3, Commander Luke. 2, Rey Jedi Training. And number 1 overall is Grand Admiral Thrawn. Now, I love seeing Grand Admiral Thrawn here for a couple reasons. Number 1, I think he deserves to be. And number 2, if he wasn't there, I think there would be a lot of angry people in the comments. And so, you're welcome, my friends. He's there. He's number 1. Yay, we can all shake hands and be friends about this. But look, Grand Admiral Thrawn in 2018, there's just so much that he was doing. All around game modes. He's got, an amazing capital ship. He's going to be the counter to basically everything that hits us. Literally the only character that I think is not countered by Thrawn in the history of everything is Nest. And so you're not going to see much else Fracture Revan, that's going to be really huge to slowing down Revan's marked ability so that you don't have to, die so fast. Fracture Scion, so you don't have to worry about that persistent taunt. There's so many reasons Fracture in particular is going to be useful. And then you got that protection regain, the, speed up and then stun when you hit a basic on ability block. Thrawn is the best overall character in this game if we're looking at who is going to be the best plug-and-play solo character. Rey Jedi Training, I'm not sure if I would put her this high on this list. Now, she's very good, and she had a lot of time in the meta, and I think she's kind of having a bit of a resurgence right now with C-3PO, but I feel like Commander Luke all around is better. And so one of my main disagreements with this is I'd probably swap Rey and Commander Luke and maybe even put Rey below Darth Traya just because of how impactful Darth Traya's meta was. That was a really frustrating meta to go against if you didn't have Darth Traya. And frankly, even if you had Darth Traya, it was frustrating. I had Darth Traya very early in that meta, and I hated the mirror match. I just really didn't enjoy it, even though I had pretty dang solid mods. Some of the better mods in my shard. And so, to me, if I were to reshuffle this, I'd say it's Grand Admiral Thrawn, Traya, Commander Luke, and then Rey in fourth. But the point totals here were all pretty close, except for Grand Admiral Thrawn did run away with it. And so I guess we can agree to disagree with the polls of the year. All right, my friends, what are some of your thoughts on the 2018 top 15 list for the entire year? I think that the pollsters for the whole year pretty much got this right. I'd reshuffle the top 4 just a little bit, but by and large, I think this list is very reflective of what took place in the year. And before you freak out a little too much, I will tell you that Enfys Nest was the first one out of this list, closely followed by Wampa. And so yes, those characters were very dominant, especially Nest. She was close, not quite there. Maybe one of the reasons she didn't make it is because she just wasn't in the limelight for as long as some of the other characters were. Thanks again for joining me for the video, my friends. If you did like it, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And as always, my brothers, don't forget
my dead body. Sorry about the mess.